Aloha, everybody. This is Eva Andrade. And on this episode of Faith, Family, and First podcast, Jim Hochberg and I are going to talk about whether or not artificial intelligence is coming after the family, the church, your job. Is that a good thing? Is there dangers involved? Or could this be a positive thing? Well, stay tuned. Let's chat about that. Jim Hochberg, I am so impressed with your red, white, and blue shirt. I know we celebrated 4th of July last week, but you said on the show last week that we were celebrating Pride Month.
That's right. Not Pride Month like the other June one. This is July. This is Pride in the founding of our country, the Declaration, the Constitution. It should be a month long. So I happen to have, because my wife buys me all these shirts all the time, I have 3 4th of July shirts.
Well, I can tell you right now that if you went into ChatGPT and asked ChatGPT, give me some suggestions on what I should wear for the show, do you know that ChatGPT would say to you, give you really good suggestions on what to wear for the show?
No.
Okay. So we're going to talk.
I've never even looked at it.
We're going to talk about the whole artificial intelligence thing because everybody's talking about it, right?
And I have a nightmare story.
And you have a nightmare story. So I want to make sure that we give you enough time to do that. But I think I want to throw out a little bit of definitions first so that people know what we're talking about. So when you actually ask the tech geek to explain what is GPT, because we want to start with the facts. So GPT. And I know you don't know this, do you? So you're going to learn something new? Are you?
What does it stand for? What does GPT stand for?
Yeah, I'm going to tell you. But I want to sit and bask in the moment.
That's not AI.
But it's
GPT is not AI.
It's connected. It is. See,
I don't know what GPT
I love that I know something that Jim Hochberg
doesn't know. You know a lot of
know.
stuff I don't know.
I know something Jim don't know. I'm so excited. I'm almost done. I'm almost going to be done with it. Okay, so GPT is a generative pre-trained transformers, and it's normally part of a neural network model that use this architecture, and it's the key advancement in artificial intelligence. Okay, so that's why when you have ChatGPT, you've got this ability to go, and I use ChatGPT. I've used it. It's great. You can go into ChatGPT and you could say something like, you could put in something you're going to write. Say there's a few sentences that you're working on, and it just doesn't sound right to you.
I want to figure out how to wish Eva happy birthday.
You could. You
and
could.
Then it would give me information to write.
It would say so.
Or would it write it for me?
Oh, it would write it for. Oh, so here's what's cool about it. So here's what I have used ChatGPT for. If I'm working on something, I'm writing something, and it's a paragraph that I've worked on and I'm like, this is kind of what I want to say, but it's not making any sense. I could take that paragraph and put it into ChatGPT and say, make this sound better. And they will take exactly what you wrote and they will make it sound better. I was at a program with the Deconfirmation program with the diocese because I help them with their technology. And these guys know that I like looking up all this kind of stuff. And I was in the back playing with ChatGPT. And the instructor, who is a professor of theology, came by and he goes, what you working on? And I said, I'm just playing with ChatGPT. And he goes, oh, I want to see this so bad. He said, ask it this question. And he had me ask ChatGPT some theological question that I could not even say to you today because it was way over my pay grade. And so I asked the question, and within seconds, 2 paragraphs came up. He read it and he goes, oh my God, if that was a student, I would have to give them an A.
Wow. Let me read a definition of what ChatGPT is. It came up in a research I was doing about my nightmare, but they actually tell me if this is correct. It says ChatGPT generates realistic responses by making guesses about which fragments of text should follow other sequences based on a statistical model that has ingested billions of examples of text pulled from all over the internet.
Absolutely. In fact, when
I read that, I really had no idea what it meant.
No, what this is really, and you've probably used this artificial intelligence and not even know it. So a lot of people use Outlook when they send their emails. And so what people are noticing now is somebody will send you an email and you'll have a few suggested responses to the email. So
I haven't noticed that.
Yeah, so it's really cool. So like I've had emails from people that will say, "Hey, Eva, sending you this report that that you asked for," and some of the suggestion, and you could just hit it, and then it'll go. It'll show up for you. But things will be like, "Thanks for sending this. I appreciate it." So it does. It kind of.
That's like no-brainer stuff.
Well, okay. There's many levels, and we'll talk a little bit about why it could be dangerous. But so Chat GPT and other artificial intelligent programs that are out there, they can be very helpful in some ways. There are some people that have a hard time writing. And I have asked GPT to give me suggestions for the opening of the show. A couple of weeks ago, you remember, I said, give me an open. And we were going to talk about a particular URL. So I put that in there and I said, give me a 30-second intro for this URL. And it came up. And if you say 30 seconds, it'll give you enough words that should fit into a 30-second average.
Unless you're from Louisiana.
Well, they warn you that there is a little thing that on there says...
Not that I don't like Louisiana. They just talk slow.
And again, this is what's so cool about ChatGPT. So they'll give you the suggested language, and then it'll say, but please keep in mind that some speakers speak slow, some speak fast. So they're just giving you an average. So
is this ChatGPT thing... Like if I decide I want to buy something, so I look online... And then all of a sudden, all I'm getting is advertisements about that crap?
No. Well, I think that if you have Google anywhere on your computer,
but I mean, is that the same thing?
I think what it does is how you described it there is accurate. So basically, because it can tap into the internet, it can take all of these things that have been said over the years. So like I asked ChatGPT, I said something about a biological woman or something. And I was really impressed with its answer. However, it learns. And so recently when people were going in there and put in biological female, they actually got a little bit of a different answer. So artificial intelligence, it learns, right? So in other words, and going back to the show last week, you talked about what happens when people actually plug into these companies that they give money to, right? It's kind of the same way. If people are participating on the internet and they're all liberal and they're all putting in liberal things, then that's going to be the thing. And the other thing to keep in mind is that all of this artificial intelligence stuff, it has to come from somewhere. It comes from a programmer. So it has to begin within the mind of a programmer, which means if you have a liberal programmer, then some of the way they think is going to be in that initial concept of this artificial intelligence. Now it will learn and it will grow based on all of the input because that's what it does. It searches the internet. So some of this artificial intelligence, really cool. Like they have ones that will draw for you. And I've played around with that one too, where you can...
A picture?
Yeah. So you can type in there, Jesus holding an American flag standing on Mount Sinai. And it'll give you all these different pictures of Jesus standing on...
It's drawing the pictures or it's finding pictures?
It's drawing them. And the interesting thing is when you put money into some of these programs, it actually gives you permission to sell these prints.
You know what we should do? In the beginning ages of the church fathers had all of these theological things that they struggled to try to answer, which is how you get the Nicene Creed and all that kind of stuff.
Would be.
So the funny joke question that's been around since I was a kid was, how many angels can dance on the head of a pin?
Okay,
you should ask it that.
Well, no, this is what we're going to do because I think this would be a hilarious show. When you come back from your trip, right, and we're sitting in here, I will hook up my computer and we'll have our tech guy do that. And I'll pull up and we will ask it some questions and do like a live. Wouldn't you guys like that? Type it, put in the comments below if you think that would be a fun show because we could do that. We could go into ChatGPT. We could do some of the drawing stuff. What was it? I went into Ezekiel and you know the whole scripture about the wheel, right? In Ezekiel. Yes. I typed that in there because I wanted to see what it would draw because I was thinking, now that would be interesting. And it was really bizarre because you can pick the type of art you want it to do. Like you could say, I want it to look like a photograph. I want it to look like art in the Byzantine chapel. I mean, so you can actually tell it like
it gives you choices, or you write it in.
No, well, it depends on what. All of them are different programs, but the one I have, you could say I want a photograph, I want a fresco.
So how much does a program cost?
Well, the one I have, I did an annual one because I wasn't sure if I was going to like it.
Pay. No wonder I've
well,
never
no,
tried
there are
it.
there are some free ones. There are some free ones, but the free ones, what I've noticed on the free ones is it'll take the system a long time to give you one, because you have to consider this, right? There could be millions of people playing on that thing. So if you're not paying for it, you're going to wait in a queue. But when you pay, a lot of times, then you'll get the quicker things. And so,
I got to tell you a pay and get quicker things story real quick. Janet and I went to New York City, and we went to Empire State Building to do a tour. And we paid extra, and we had our own tour guide, just the two of us and our tour guide. And every time we came to anything like an elevator or a door, and there was a line of people, we like went in front of everybody because our guide took us right in.
See, I'm telling you. Okay, so
I was kind of embarrassed though at the beginning.
Well,
I got used to it.
Yeah, after a while, you just roll with it. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about. So you could talk about, like I said, the innocent stuff about this artificial intelligence, right? So the things like, helping it maybe clean up some language. Or I put in there, I wanted to know what the history of my name was. Stuff like that are kind of fun, right? But what happens when artificial intelligence...
Your name's Eva.
Yeah, but I mean...
Adam's wife's name was...
Eve.
That's the history of your name.
Well...
There was no names before that.
I am telling you that you don't get like a 2-second thing. I got a 4-paragraph thing about Eva and who uses it, because it's a big name in Germany. So, I learned everything about my name.
Maria's a big name in Spain and Italy.
Yep, that's right. So it's actually a fascinating thing. You can also, the other thing too is the historical stuff. So you can ask it, give me a summary of the Holocaust. And it'll actually do that. And because it's getting information from the internet, I would say that nobody should ever think that the information they're getting is 100% accurate. I think we always need to kind of look at what we're doing. But artificial intelligence has been doing a good job. In fact, I was reading that doctors are now using a form of, it's not ChatGPT, but it's a form of ChatGPT to help diagnose certain medical conditions.
That's very scary. And when we have time to get to my nightmare, that would be another nightmare.
Well, no, that's why I think we're moving into your story, because so we could talk about the innocent part of using, artificial intelligence, but then it becomes dangerous, because some of the concern, and people like Stephen Hawking and Elon Musk have voiced concern about the growth of this, because what happens when the artificial intelligence becomes so smart that it begins to outthink? See, if it's helping humans make decisions, or it's kind of giving you a good framework to come up with good decisions, that's one thing. But if it starts outthinking humans, kind of like, do you remember that movie? Some people might remember that War Games that came out with Matthew Broderick in the 1980s. I don't know if you remember that movie, but it was a fascinating movie. And it was basically a hacker, a young boy, Matthew Broderick. He figures out how to hack into the military mainframe, but he thought it was a game, because the game that it was called was thermonuclear war or whatever. So he thought he was playing a game. He goes, let's play thermonuclear whatever. And he ends up putting all of the nations on alert or whatever.
Oh,
so
no
it's an interesting movie.
No, I've never seen that
back
movie.
In the 1980s. But
that's when I was in law school. I had no time for movies.
You probably were not watching movies. But
no time for movies.
So that's kind of what their concern is. They're talking about what's the potential of it becoming so dangerous that all these things can happen. And I know that you have a story that I think should bring us more a bit to a check of reality.
And this is a story about a legal case. Imagine something like this if your doctor is using it. That is really bad. Yeah, legal cases all start out the same. Somebody wants to sue somebody for something. This particular case was a passenger on an Avianca flight from Spain to Kennedy wanted to sue the airline because during the flight, the flight attendant bumped his knee with the cart in the aisle.
Oh my gosh, and that has happened to so many people.
But maybe he had a big injury, maybe he had a bad knee, I don't know, but he was suing over that. So we all get on airplanes, we all have tickets, all those tickets have fine print, all that fine print says you can't sue me if you get hurt. So what did the airline do? The first thing they did is they filed a motion to dismiss the case because you can't bring this case. So the man's lawyer, Mr. Schwartz, who, by the way, had been practicing law for 30 years.
Not a baby lawyer.
30
Not
years,
a baby lawyer.
30 years. He writes a memorandum of law arguing why the case should not be dismissed, why Mr. whatever his name was allowed to bring his claim against Avianca Air. Well, Mr. Schwartz, in doing his research, usually what you do, the reason litigation costs so much money is our legal system requires if I'm going to make a legal argument in court, I have to find cases from other judges from similar kinds of issues that I can show the judge, you should use this thinking to solve this problem.
And I'll bet you you're going to say that ChatGPT or a system like that got all the information for him.
And so you have to do the legal research to find the cases. Then you have to read the cases and understand the cases and the legal theories and the arguments and the policy. And then you have to do what's called shepherdize the case to see if that case has been used by another judge. Has it been overturned? Was it on appeal? And so all this work goes into writing these legal memos. So this guy, Mr. Schwartz, used ChatGPT to do his research, and it gave him all these cases.
It does.
And so that's where this definition, listen to this. So he asked for a memo to respond to that motion. So ChatGPT generated realistic responses by making guesses about which fragments of text should follow other sequences based on a statistical model that has ingested billions of examples of text pulled from all over the internet. So he files this memorandum of law that ChatGPT wrote for him.
Are you going to read it? I'm curious to see what it said.
No, it's 20 pages long.
No, I mean, you had it highlighted. Was there something
I just
it
read
said?
that.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So he files it. Now, when I file a memo opposing a motion by opposing counsel, they read mine and they get to write and file what's called a reply to my position. So what happened is his memo went to the other lawyers. They read it. They went to look up the cases. This ChatGPT thing made up cases and had quotes from made up cases. And so the lawyers wrote to the judge and said, Judge, we can't find these cases. This is bullshit. Excuse me. So the judge told Mr. Schwartz, you better give us copies of the cases. So he went back into ChatGPT and he gave him copies of cases that didn't exist, that the 11th Circuit judge never filed. Okay? This is like a nightmare. So then the judge sends Mr. Schwartz and his whole law firm an order to show cause why they should not be sanctioned. Now, sanctions to a lawyer could include paying money as a fine or getting your client's case terminated. So on June 22nd, 2023, the order came from the court. I'm going to read you what the sanction is. This Mr. Schwartz guy who used ChatGPT to write a memo in response, this is GPT. So, opinion and order on sanctions. The court orders the following sanctions in its inherent authority. A, within 14 days of this order, Mr. Schwartz will send via first-class mail a letter individually addressed to the plaintiff, Mr. Mata, that's Mr. Schwartz's own client, that identifies and attaches this opinion and order, a transcript of the hearing from June 8th, 2023, and a copy of the April 25 affirmation, including the exhibits. So the court is ordering that he tell his client what he did. 2, B, within 14 days of this order, respondent shall send via first-class mail a letter individually addressed to each judge falsely identified as the author of fake Varghese, Shaboom, Peterson, Martinez, Durden, and Miller opinions.
Oh, God.
This letter shall identify and attach this opinion in order, a transcript of the hearing of June 8th, 2023, and a copy of the April 25th affirmation, including the, quote, fake opinion attributed to the recipient judges. C. Now, if you're a lawyer, this is going to kill you. Within 14 days of this opinion and order, respondent, Mr. Schwartz, will file with this court copies of the letters, and a penalty of $5,000 is imposed jointly and severally on Mr. Schwartz and his client, and shall be paid within 14 days.
So he didn't lose his license?
No.
See, okay. So
what he did is he sent in response before this came out, he said, Judge, I had no idea ChatGPT or GTP would make stuff up. I'm horrified. I've learned my lesson. I will never do it again.
Yeah. See, and that's why I made the comment earlier that you can play around with artificial intelligence. You can have fun with it. But the dangers, you brought up that one, and I told you there are doctors that are also using it. But the doctors, from what I understand, is that what they're doing is they can ask, and again, it's not Chat GPT they're using. I guess there's one similar where they'll put in the symptoms. And, people do this all the time.
It's called biology GPT.
Oh, God. Yeah.
I don't know.
No. So they would type in. So what they would do is, and people are doing this already anyway. If you go on to, what is it? It's one of those medical ones.
Telehealth.
It's not telehealth, but it's a program that you can go put in your symptoms, and then it'll tell you, what things that you might have. WebMD. Thank you. Our tech guy was paying attention. Yeah. If I go on WebMD right now and I type in they're using a form of artificial intelligence, but they're not.
Hopefully they don't make things up.
No. Well, first of all, they make it very clear.
The leg bone's connected to the brain bone.
No. They make it very clear that it is not a medical diagnosis.
So why are doctors using it then?
Well, they're using it for the same purpose. Like they might say,
I feel really sorry for this lawyer, man.
So they have patients that or doctors that might come in and they might say,
technologically an
I'm
idiot.
trying to get my thought. I'm getting old. You're going to make me forget what I was saying. So the doctor might put into the program, here's some of the symptoms that are kind of weird, and so it may come back saying, here's some suggested things it might be or whatever. So, using something like that, as long as the doctor is going to use the brain, they went to medical school. So if they're going to look at these suggestions and go, I'm not sure about this one, but this one looks promising. Let me go do my research. Like, for instance, that situation could have been averted had that attorney said, let me do my job. Now that ChatGPT has provided me this information, let me do my job that I would have done anyway without it and check these cases, and it would have never happened. So when the theology professor who was standing behind me and said he would have given that student an A, he said that that's the thing that instructors are now very wary of, that people could be writing papers now.
But that's been happening for a long time. They've had term paper things online for decades.
But this is different because ChatGPT is going to provide a paper that you're not stealing somebody else's language. So they can't really call it plagiarism. So and basically when I was talking about, Elon Musk and people like him that have their concerns, they're talking that what needs to happen is, and I know that, Jim, you're going to roll your eyes, but now they're saying that we really need to have some kind of ethics and some kind of code, some kind of oversight, for anybody who's going to use these kind of artificial intelligence, because I think it can be very, very dangerous. Now, if anybody's interested, I'll put the link that a bunch of guys, including Elon Musk and Steve Wozniak, Andrew Yang.
Put the link.
This is an open letter to stop dangerous AI race. And I'll give, this was done March 29th, 2023. So it's pretty current article. And I got it from a site called Motherboard. So I'll make that link available to you. So anyway, I think that the point that we have to make is that in this day and age, in the way that technology is growing and just expanding every day, we have to remember that the greatest thing that we have at our fingertips is the Lord Jesus Christ and the knowledge we get from serving Almighty God. And I think rather than looking to man or to Chat GPT or anything, we should be turning to the Creator. the one where everything flows from, where life and knowledge and wisdom and all that stuff come to him. Now, if you want to have fun with ChatGPT, like me, and have fun, I think that's one thing. But I think that we do need to stop for a moment and realize that we're moving into dangerous waters.
So I just finished reading Eric Metaxas's latest book, A Letter to the American Church.
And I heard you gave some of these out at our wonderful gala.
I did. The interesting thing, one of the central themes of his message is God is truth.
Yes.
And God is love.
Yes.
So you can't be exercising truth or love contradictory to what God says. Because if he is truth and he is love and you're contradicting him supposedly in truth and love, it can't be truth or love. It has to be something else.
That's right. And I just follow Jesus. And if Jesus says, I am the way, the truth, and the life, I take that at face value, which means the way starts, you got to get to the way. So you got to be going in the right direction. And when you're on the way, then you can see the truth. And that's truth is what will bless your life.
Set you free.
Yeah, that's right. So that's what we're going to do. So I don't know, Jim. So we will plan on those that are watching and listening. We'll plan on doing a really fun show where we play around with some of this artificial intelligence just to see, because I think it'd be hilarious. In that same technology thing, one of the deacons I was sitting next to said, hey, go into that drawing program and have it draw. And I don't know, it's had some kind of a Black Hawk helicopter doing something or whatever. And no matter how we described it, it did not do a good job of drawing what he wanted. So
when you say drawing, is it like you see
it's like
the pencil move?
No,
or it just gives you
it's there.
Immediate thing.
It's there. It's immediate. It's like, and we were doing it in a photographic way. And that's the thing that is scary. It looks like a real photograph. Now, the thing that it won't allow you to do is, like, I can't say like, have Donald Trump be doing this or that, because the problem with that is that you could post a picture saying this is a picture of, somebody doing something they never did. So if you try to do that in the programs I have, it'll say, tell you cannot do it. Can you
go to this thing and say, give me the recipe for Bud Light, and then make Bud Light, but it's not Bud Light, and everybody that used to buy Bud Light will buy your fake Bud Light.
What my guess is, and maybe we'll test it out, but my guess is what would happen is it would give you a recipe for beer. And it would say, nobody has the real recipe, but here's how you can make beer.
Yeah,
and it would tell you.
If they ever emailed to each other the recipe for Bud Light, it will find it.
If they can find it. But having said that, though, where did ChatGPT get those fake cases from?
I don't know. But here's the way this New York Times reporter, what's his name, Benjamin Weiser, here's how he described what happened. He said, in Mr. Mata's case, the program appears to have discerned the labyrinthine framework of a written legal argument, but populated it with names and facts from a bouillabaisse of existing cases.
Well, we're going to have a bouillabaisse of wonderful shows coming up. So make sure you like, subscribe, share this video with everyone you know. Hit that notification button so you never miss a new show. And comment. And we will see you all next week. Mahalo, everybody.
Aloha.